Listening to the Law Enforcement Pirate Radio Network. Radio Free Larry presiding.
You can run, but you can't hide.
Radio Free Larry.
All right, here we go again. Buckle up. Rough roads ahead. I suspect the movement against the blue line is actually spies that are operating corruptly with corrupt law enforcement. What they're attempting to do is to create a system where you cannot identify who somebody is. And I'm not asking you to, give somebody some big break because they have a thin blue line. But they're moving something very criminal and very corrupt. The second part of that is to create a group of people to attack anybody with the blue line because that's who they are. They're not really law enforcement. They're not really intelligence. They're not really private eyes, but they hold those positions. They're criminal enterprise. There's nothing else there. Again, some woman with a child attacking me, even if she works for the highest FBI agent in sex crime investigation, she's still the same thing. A piece of shit, dirty criminal. Because they have power not to be it. You understand the difference between somebody who you arrest? You should be able to see this. I mean, I didn't see it, but I knew, this person can't even get out of their own way. But they laugh at it because they cause that in people's lives and have done so since they're a child. I was extorted once when I was a child. Now the FBI psychologist is going to come on. I already received warnings when we were preparing this probably about a month or two ago to speak about it. That the FBI psychologist would come on. Oh, that's why he's doing this, because he was harmed as a child. We're not doing anything. Bullshit, all of you. You are the harm of children. We can't heal it because all of you are cursing children. I have to heal this child over there. She was here walking when I said that. That's pretty funny. I think it's a child. It might be an older girl. I don't know. That looks like a child. She shouldn't be there. How old is she? I can't tell how old she is if it's an adult, like an 8. No, she's under 18. She shouldn't be there on a bike like that. Parents just... And, that could be some of the increase that we're seeing. I know that the spies are manipulating people to commit crimes against children. However, some of the increase might be that, I know I would never let my kid do that. And hopefully my ex-wife didn't either. She was, I don't think she would either. Kids just get out of sight and, anything can happen. Heal her again. And that's actually one of the things that's an illusion for rich people. Everything goes so well for their life, so they go down in this. They get bolted into a casket and go, visit the Titanic. Like I say, you just, the Bible is very important. Don't tempt the Lord your God. Now, I'm keeping an eye on Rose Montoya to make sure. I remember the last name there. To make sure that she's okay, because she's being attacked by the machine. And I'm also keeping an eye on Erin Reed because she's a mover and a shaker, and we're trying to see what the thought process is, so we can refine our thought process and refine their thought process together and get where we need to get to take away from what, it's not politics. They call it politics. Politics is a witches' festival. Okay, that's what it's become. The devil reigns in politics, whether you're religious or not, whether you're good or evil. It's Babylon and worse. So what they use that impetus, again, the idea of creating an anti-blue line movement so they can use that to harm anybody with the blue line. So what they're doing is creating in politics a reason to make you kill somebody, actually, because psychology can kill you. It's called spycraft. That's pretty funny, huh? Great timing there, spies. Well, it doesn't matter if they work for the CIA or not. The crown jewels has been leaked for decades, and they kill people with it. Somebody come on my head and said, remember me. He's a person that interfered in my assignment when I was working a case for the FBI. I had a bunch of people under me. I was supervising. That's why they gave it to me, I think, just to try to kill me, add the extra stress. Let's see what happens. But that person just got fucked off, man. Mr. Remember Me, you just got fucked off. So again, you're all nuts. Well, it'll do something. It always does something. They're just very limited in their mind on what's actually happening. So again, instead of being Trump, they're Trump's bitch. They go around killing people for Trump, and then they're beholden to Trump and that whole system. But there are other people, including Democrats, that also do that. You all woke up young and live, man. You could have been anything. You're just piece of shit bitches for criminal bosses that call themselves millionaires, billionaires, preachers, whatever it is. So again, the world is what it is. My friend's still out there, and if she wants to be a homeless person on a piece of cardboard in New York City, who am I to say no? I mean, the deep state's trying to manipulate that psychology on several fronts, and we're manipulating it before they steered her to contact me again. It just reveals what it does is like they're short-sighted. It reveals that I can't have her around me. What they're trying to do is, why don't you just go take care of her? Some weird stuff, But then they'll write up, well, it appears he doesn't want to be with a woman because you won't be with her. yeah, right. That's how they do it, man. All lies. Until they can cause something in the person's life and then say, look, there it is. They're sickos, man. They're torturing people into committing crimes. And then yeah, that's the system, man. Got money, got cars. Remember me? I'm Marshal Service. I'm back. You'll go to hell for it. I mean, hell exists, man. No, you can't claim ignorance when you weren't ignorant. It's called willful ignorance, all of you. And you're part of this system that would enlighten you, then all bets are off. Again, the Bible tells you not to engage in certain activity to cause other people to fall. And when you do that, that's one of the guys that told me about it. I should date young girls, trying to dumb it down so I keep going younger and younger and try to get me into somebody that's underage at a certain point. But you're part of the system that denies you the truth and denies others the truth, and you know that. So you're ignorant, all of you. But you're not. But it's called willfully ignorant. See, they're trying to reverse it. Unreversed. Whoa! So see how that happened? They moved a spell, and something I was saying was shifting. So that's what they're doing to homeless people, especially the person I'm trying to help. I'm a failure? No, I helped her. I got her up to New York at least, and the weather's a little bit better. No, she wasn't going to do anything but sit there and probably smoke reefer. So I got her out. Helped her get out of there best I could, and she did. Again, the idea is, and I told my mother this years ago, when the state senator said, some things. I said, he's with you in spirit. He's going to try to help you. He can't do what you want him to do. She was all mad because she wouldn't help. So again, I paid like $260 to only get her to Charlotte, but that's a big payment. And essentially Greyhound owed us. So she was able to just go right out on the street. So this shows you how the world's metaphysical. Go right out on the street, get some money. Some guy gave her a voucher for a ticket. And boom, she was up in New York. Well, she got to Virginia first, I think, and then she got the voucher to New York or something like that. That's why I don't sweat the little stuff until it goes over a certain line. Now, she shouldn't be in New York. She should be in the other location. I think she's never going to go back inside and live, or maybe if she lived with somebody, she would do it. I don't know. Or maybe because she's driven Uber this year, earlier in the year. Let me think, what year is it? Did she drive Uber this year? I think she did, or I thought it was the end of last year, but she may have driven Uber this year, and maybe she doesn't qualify for programs. So she's going to ride it out. I don't know. But again, those programs have expanded a little bit. Again, I tried to tell her that you have to go to the disability people to get what you need. And I guess, it makes her feel, self-esteem drops. But again, I explained to her life and why she's not accountable to God the way everybody else is, because she was victimized as a child. And that includes sexually. So, I guess maybe she feels bad about being disabled or something. And they probably put it in her head. They might actually be on her phone every day making her feel bad about being disabled. Because she it's like, I don't need anybody. I don't need anything. But again, she says, I need a shower. I want to come to Kansas. And he said, where are you? I want to come there. No. and she's not in love with me. Not at all. So again, it's them. If it wasn't for them, her mind would find a place to be, and she'd be there, and it would be the way it was. So again, we're still under their unholy rule, and that includes the church. Well, what do they call it? The 7 deadly sins, you gluttons. That's why you're on disability. We're not gluttons, because that's why we're rich and we're, loving life because we take care of you. It just goes round and round and round with them. I'm sure Biden has some of that shit in his head. So again, let's go to that thing. As far as that particular case where we have a supposed videos or recordings and all this evidence on Biden, and nobody really brings it out to be looked at until she's dead. So what does that stink of? They're just going to use it for politics, for the witches festival of election. So again, they'll be harping on how mysteriously somebody died. Trump will be there. Somebody died, and they had, or somebody was killed, and they had evidence about Biden. It's worse than the Clintons. The Republican spycraft machine. Well, it's a Democrat and Republican spycraft machine. You have spycraft operators working for the Democratic Party that will work for the Republican Party and work for themselves, which means, oh, no, that person's so good, we need to take that person out because that person would have their job because they're better than them. That's what a lot of federal agents do. They have no way of being promoted because they're just shit and trash. So they kill out the competition. And no, it isn't the last man standing. You're committing major felonies, all of you. That's why we can't get rid of crime, because felons are running law enforcement and elevating felonies as some, survival of the fittest. So again, the years don't match up. I mean, anything's possible, and maybe he eventually did something or didn't do something. But the years that they're alleging all this, it was before the connection, theoretically. So it doesn't really work out. Now, Ron Johnson figured it out real quick. Is abort, abort, abort. But this is what they're doing to everything. They're all full of shit, and you're worshiping shit and full of shit. I guess you all wouldn't be politicians if it wasn't for that anyway. Okay, here's a number. 108 Hotel, California Hotel. 10819. That's probably, it might mean 109. What's the 109? I have to look. It could mean 2 or 3 different things. So something in California, Hotel 108. That could be our model rehabilitate the hotel motel thing. That could be our, you have to start with one. That's how it usually works. So we can try to work that. Again, you don't want to get into having a security entity that's corrupt. That's not what I'm speaking about. So again, LAPD, if you want to have your own security entity for these, what do they call them? Okay, so there's something else coming up, but I'm going to have to think of what they call that, where they rehouse people. Inside safe. Okay, so the education department, I brought up the fact that they should probably have security specialists that work with the schools. And they distribute the federal money so that it makes sense. Again, the idea of packages of surveillance cameras that will keep the kids safe, established protocols instead of just spending the money willy-nilly. And then somebody just walks in and kills everybody. So the idea of possibly inside safe security manager, security contracts, even if you work the contract where they pay for it, maybe you can, because then the contract's larger. You have to save money, right? LAPD's in here. So you'll actually save money if everybody inside safe uses the same security. And again, of course, some retired guys have security. And as long as it's not corrupt, that's lawful. You put the people in the know that you can work with to have that so that the law enforcement and the security are kind of almost seamless. So again, you could have your own inside safe security. And of course, that can cause bad publicity when, they hurt somebody that's an unhoused person that you're trying to house. So again, there are issues with that. But again, if you do the right work and the quality control, and again, if something becomes large, there's a greater chance that that's going to happen. But I think in the end, it'll work better. Again, you have less chance that something's going to go wrong because you're going to maintain a certain quality control of the security, and you can charge them for it, and it'll probably be cheaper than what they would pay. So again, what they are paying could reduce, or you could use whatever the contract price is to do something else with it. So if LA were to actually contract specific inside safe security with an inside safe security manager, and we should have a team underneath of him or her, and then the price will drop per hotel, motel. And then you'll have the quality control, you'll have the point of contact. So there should be somebody that is managing the security from the city that drives around and visits these locations and knows how to contact everybody. And again, if we use a limited number of contractors, then it's very easy to contact them. So again, we're up front. There probably is maybe retired law enforcement involved in that. But the idea is we don't want it to be corrupt. So once you make it corrupt, your lives are going to tank. Because I'm here and I have requirements, because God has requirements. But I'm not asking you to be religious. And that's going to work much better. Well, because you won't have to like, oh, what is your security? How is your security? We don't like your contractor. It's your contractor. So you can actually give them two options. Either pay for the security and we can. So it doesn't make sense. It'll just be worked into the contract that you provide the security. But, again, they get less money because they're not providing security. But it makes more sense for everyone because you get cheaper security per hotel, motel. And then when you have that much security access, you'll be able to, and there could be off-duty cops too being used. That's another aspect of that type of security. Might be able to put them in there, into the mix. Again, because I was about to work on when you need 2 or 3 officers, you have so many security officers, you can move them over to a trouble zone. So you can put 2 or 3 on shift. But it works out monetarily because you have that overall large contract. And it doesn't really cost what it would cost if you didn't have that contract. And you probably couldn't put it together. I mean, no hotel owner is going to bring 3 security people in a trouble zone just because they only have so much money from the contract. So there should be a inside safe security manager with a team of people. And they visit the locations, they inspect security, they contract security, they work with LAPD to work it out. So what will happen is in some of those trouble locations, what you can do is bring a off-duty officer in with a squad car if it gets real bad. Again, the service is to serve the people that are unhoused, attempting to be inside safe, but you have to create an inside safe environment. Now, the question is, what do you do if a member of the Inside Safe program, somebody such as an unhoused person that just rented the house, engages in something they're not supposed to? What we're trying to fight is the idea of the revolving door, that we put them back out. So again, that's where the social workers come in. And again, the idea of hiring additional first responder social workers into that program so that they can visit and drive around and do their magic while, security is being maintained. Again, there's social workers, then there's first responder social workers that can come into a community. And once they're known by the unhoused people, it's a lot easier to get information. Because what their goal is to socially fix it. They're not there to arrest people. They're there to arrest whatever the social issue is. But not arrest it, just to fix it. Otherwise, the thing will fail because devils are cursing it. Devils are cursing it. Devils are cursing people to be homeless. They hate programs that fix homelessness because they're devils killing people out. That's what most Republicans are devils killing people out. And they hate, and that's why they run to the church, because that's their cover. Oh, I'm a church person. And if you see how they rate people, that's how they rate them generally. So that's why they don't let you to go to church, the people they're killing, because that's an up. In a conservative community, if you go to church, it's an up. They say, okay, guy goes to church every week. Well, that's a deception, because you're evil. They're talking about themselves, really. So security manager, a team of security specialists. And again, the capability to purchase at a lower price a security package that could be worked out through the contract for some places that have no security, that need security. Pretty much now, like this place, I tell you about the place I stayed in Amarillo. I like the father. The son was a little goofy. He was supposedly the one that owned it. I don't know if that's true or not. I mean, at that point, I guess he did. I always felt like the father owned it. But that's okay. I mean, the guy was running the business. The father was just kind of there. Maybe gifted it to his son. I don't know. Probably so. That guy doesn't seem like he would make money very quick. He was actually one of the hindrances. But they installed a security system. I mean, they had a big screen TV security, and they I told you this guy goes into his room with his son-in-law and his daughter because they're going to have dinner. Ring-a-ling on the phone. They have to get out of their room. You haven't paid for them. What's my son-in-law and my daughter? We're going to have dinner. No, they're not allowed in there. They were like, you had to go outside. But I mean, like right away. Zing, ding. So they had to go outside and have a barbecue and eat outside. So again, you know, a lot of hotels are like that now. Only because there's so many issues in the world. Right? You know, dead bodies and everything else in the apartment or in the hotel room. Again, you know, they don't want to be a nuisance business. So that's the way they handle it. So again, it's probably very rare that you're going to find no security in some place that is a low rent district. The worst thing you want to do again is to fence in some place and close it down, because and then it's going to be an eyesore eventually, and you'll have to bulldoze it. Right. Well, the program's huge. It's okay. What what you're doing is public housing, but you're doing it different, and that was one of the requirements. Once we went, you know, a couple decades into public housing, we understand that it was going to ruin things more than hell. Right. So there was the idea of public housing was to try to disperse it and not make these huge housing developments that became, you know, they had their own security, but it was for narcotics distribution, prostitution, etc. They generally call them lookouts, but so law enforcement couldn't enter in to a housing development without everybody knowing they were there. But they had the lookouts and, you know, every entrance and exit covered. So the idea was you needed to disperse them. And again, you're doing that too, and they're fighting back because we don't want people like this in our community, that type of thing. That's fine, you know, Christian, do what you think is right. But of course, you know, they become a goat and they'll be sent to hell. Well, because they believe Jesus gave them a perfect life to be rich and to oppress everyone else. Because everybody else is a criminal and a slug that doesn't have money because they don't have money, right? Meanwhile, in these large communities, you know why a lot of people don't realize why their community is serviced by police better in some of these large, rich communities, or not large, but richer communities. It's because they're greasing the palms. It's not because, you know, like they say, well, they take care of our rich people. They don't take care of rich people. If the contract comes in on a rich person and they're not paying, they come and hit them or hit her. So they're not protecting a rich community because it's rich. They're protecting a rich community because they're bribed. That's pretty much it. Because they are self-serving. It's not like, oh, we love rich people because they're rich. We love rich people because they pay us, because they bribe us. So let's get back to LAPD here and Inside Safe. So when you have when you have your own security manager, you have the capability to manage the security, and you have a larger asset. So what you're going to create is something like a housing authority, police department. Don't know if you have something there, you know, like that you could use and maybe enlarge. But again, security officers are cheaper than police officers, and that's generally, and again, more plentiful when they're cheaper because we can just keep hiring them and make them part of the contract if we want to, or whatever it is. So when there's issues in these locations, you put an additional security officer in or two, bring a police officer in off duty, and give them overtime pay or whatever it is. And I don't know if that's possible. They may be already working all those gigs. But that's generally how law enforcement works. You can, as a patrol officer, you can make a little extra money. Even some of the detectives, you make a little extra. Like, what's his name? George Floyd was working security, and Chauvin was, I think, working a side job. I don't know if he was using his police Powers in there was a squad car sitting out front or whatever it was, but they worked somewhere together and made money. Generally, cops can do that. They can work a side job and make some money. Apparently, FBI does that too now. I don't know. I didn't know if it was like a sting operation or real. Like they caught him in the middle of a sting operation. They put it together and said, "Oh, he's got his own business." So again, a inside safe security element, and then that would take care of a lot of the issues and would help you ensure things. So, and again, you want your security manager to know if we're having problems with somebody within the program. See how that works? Then they call the social worker in. So then you can have instant access to what's going to happen to that person. You don't have to, let that person sit on the street 2 days or never get back off the street. So the goal is to whatever it's going to be. If a police officer says they have to be charged, they work with the inside safe security manager and they work with the social worker to figure out what's the best case scenario. So what happens if somebody's going to be charged? They get taken down and they get or taken up because they're down. That's why they're charged. They transport them to have a proceeding or process. To tell you the truth, I don't know. Here's another plan for everything. Officers could actually do the whole process at their vehicle. They could fingerprint. They could run them in the computer, fingerprint, bring a judge up on the phone in an app, and have the whole appearance right there. But I guess we need it. Why don't they have the defender on there too, right? We'd have to meet with the guy, I guess. But initial appearance, we have them. They're represented now, I think, right? So I don't know, that would be the only sticking point. Where you wouldn't actually have to transport anybody anywhere. You could do the actual proceeding on a phone or something, right? Or on a tablet. So you fingerprint them. I guess, like fingerprinting, and it takes some concentration sometimes. So again, whatever it is. Again, if we're talking about a minor charge, it might be better not even taking them downtown if they're just going to be released. Which I don't think they're even processed, some of them, because they might already be processed. Just take a picture. Right. So I'm not sure on that. But the idea is that that could happen. The officer releases them to the social worker. And the social worker takes them somewhere. And again, they don't have to cooperate with the process. Right. But the social worker might say, hey, you can't stay here. Right. We need to take you to get some help. Or something like that. So again, it's not forcing something on somebody. It's saying, let's take you over. I mean, honest. I mean, I had somebody call the police on me and lie, including my mother. And when we tried to get to court to fix it, the deep state attacked me. And that's how they play that. So I can't clear it up. Now, it's not horrible because I wasn't found to be dangerous or anything like that. At least I hope. I mean, obviously they released me without a court proceeding or anything. Right. But it was a deep state hit, and it was anti-Christian. A cop will tell you that he wasn't anti-Christian, but he's part of an anti-Christian thing. And he might be anti-Christian. I mean, people think they're Christian when they harm other people. I didn't worry because I knew the system. I trusted the system. I said, I'll just sue them later. Then the AG said, well, I'm not going to take the case. Why? Because Christie told you not to? Christie's a piece of shit. Flush him down the toilet. What he's going to do is make a few dollars, donations while he's running for office. Get on some news. They'll pay him to be on news and everything. That's how their system works. They're garbage. Fill your mind full of shit all day. So it's interesting how now they'll tell you that everybody else is communist. That's a scam from the Republican Party. What communism was in the Soviet Union, like Putin in the Soviet Union and all the Soviet Union people would fight our liberals. They weren't liberals. They were trying to use liberals. There were actually people like Trump and DeSantis, which I told you for years. So what they would do is they would, and that's where the Republican Party is. They're actually the Soviet Socialist Republic of Florida. That's really what it is. But it's not. But that's their idea of socialism is right wing socialism. So again, they are not conservatives. They are not Republicans. They are fascists. And they are what the Soviet Union used to be. But they're using spycraft and crooked cops to do it. So let's go to that real quick. There was a news article on how DeSantis uses these teams of people to select his justices. Within that news article is a hidden gem. And it says 2 judges went into retirement and were paid lucrative salaries by somebody related to DeSantis in the private sector. But what they don't tell you is it was an offer they couldn't refuse. They had to leave because DeSantis wanted his own people in there. So spies, criminal spies, extorted those judges, those justices in Florida to leave the bench. So again, it's really a hostile takeover of Florida. It's not real. The sheriff followed the judge home every day while they were harassing him all day, wherever. Probably had people working in the courthouse that harassed the judge. So again, that's really how they're doing it. And they don't care. What they want is for people to flee Florida like they're doing, and then they'll take back over. So again, that was interesting because there it is, the offer they couldn't refuse. Either you get nothing and harass for the rest of your life, or you step down for King DeSantis. Yeah, that's what they believe. They believe that there are a special society of rulers that will fix the world for everybody. And they're Christian on top of it. That's the funny part. So you know that rich young ruler that Jesus, pushed away by simply saying, get rid of all your stuff, sell it, come follow me. That's who they are. But they're Christian now, and they own the church. That's really what's going on. The rich young ruler now owns the church and doesn't have to get rid of anything and actually uses the church to get richer. But they take what they cause. Again, they cause $1 million worth of need for charity and donate $1,000 and say, aren't we wonderful? Or even $10,000. They're part of criminal secret society. It's in the Democratic Party also. But they're a lot less likely to create victims than the Republicans. Which means they're more likely to leave you some money. And some life. Oh, you'll go to hell, all of you. You don't have a chance, any of you. There's no forgiveness for any of you. Never was, never will be. People chilling out, enjoying the day. Trying to get me to attack Amazon. I think it's vehicle. I didn't see the vehicle number, but I just saw it flash. No, if I speak about Amazon, it's simply the truth. Criminal spies were operating within Amazon and using it to psychologically torture victims. I mean, like I said, there's people driving for Amazon right now that actually work for a criminal spy entity. What do they care? They get extra, that's spending money. Go live in an extended stay somewhere or rent an apartment, and Amazon pays the apartment rental. Meanwhile, the boss is paying them big money. The FBI doesn't care because that's part of their machine to destroy people that might say something that's valid and end their corruption. Now, DHS is part of it, Mark, so they're all part of it. But it keeps everybody safer, right? No, it keeps them richer and out of prison. That's all it is. How you doing? Remember to say hi to people, especially elderly people that might be like sitting on a porch. So again, because I think they're trying to manipulate something over here, I'll bring it up. You know, these lesbian police officers that are around these little girls all day, telling them men are bad, is most likely corrupt. Whether they're actually molesting the children, I can't speak to that, but they're definitely trying to brainwash them. Are they liberals? Are they conservatives? No, they're crooks. Because I know how they run the program. They're part of what this is a sidebar issue to what's already going on in these sex investigations. The corrupt ones where they take money from people like Matt Gaetz and or take what do they call that? Political favor or whatever it is, and let him go while trying to force other people into it. The FBI today is trying to force people into sex crime, not allowing anything in their life but psychological torture unless they become a sex criminal or move in a certain direction, sexualizing. DHS, local police, state police, private eyes, they're all doing the same. Because they're going to get rich, man. They're going to get rich. Come, hell or high water, and that's coming. They're going to get rich. So again, there is the specter of them actually having sex with the children and protecting that by putting it on other people and making them afraid to say anything. No, there's a large enough number of women that appear. I worked with lesbian law enforcement, and I know they have a variety of appearances. However, there is a more militant lesbian law enforcement that take on masculine appearance or semi-masculine. Happened right here, I'm sure. Overland Park, Lenexa, Johnson County. All right, stop laughing, those that are not part of it. I'm busy. It was great exercise. I love it. I didn't think I was going to get out today. I had to really push because they're blocking me. But there's some other people in here, finally, that aren't them. Well, at least I could hear them. Like, oh, you get out there. You're going to walk smarter. You understand? No, you will not have a rest period. You will get out there. I've never had that before in my life. Never needed it. Self-starter, self-motivated. But of course, self is in connection with God. Now I got to drop about 15 pounds, at least. It'll happen. Walking is the best thing to do. It just, it takes a few months, but that's healthier. Again, with these influencers, you see all these influencers and they're like dropping dead. They're like, oh my God, what did you do? I thought if you need to, don't tempt the Lord your God. If you're airborne from the military, that's one thing, but I wouldn't do it outside of it. Again, you may have a great life doing it, but that takes a lot of power from God to keep you alive. But they also have this woman that I think it was a woman. She dropped, yeah, I think it was. She dropped like 50 pounds and then died. I think it was 50 pounds in 3 months or something. And she died. Like, whoa. And again, she probably has had some fad restrictive diet. You have, as long as you're, again, I tell you to hydrate. A lot of people don't hydrate. And when you're losing weight, you have to hydrate. I'm buying like hydration drinks and stuff, which, can be expensive. But the alternative is, so again, I wouldn't be out here if I wasn't drinking 2 hydration drinks a day. A lot of people hydrate themselves with alcohol too. She may have been out partying while she was doing that. I don't know. Well, you can buy supplements to push your body further, but there's a certain point of no return. So I got to get to Johnson County and switch out my plate. I'm going to have I wanted to do it in Oklahoma. I just couldn't get to it. I've done it. I did it in Texas. Got a personalized plate. Now, here it's weird because you can run it theoretically. Again, I don't know if it's deep state or not, but theoretically, if you run it on the state site, somebody might actually have that. Now, that could be the state screwing somebody, saying, you're not going to get that one. I mean, this is how psycho they are. If they would hack into a state database and make it look like somebody has the plate you want. Now, I'm not telling you they're doing that here, but that's their mentality. And then, let's all go have sex over this now. Now, I wouldn't say that, but that's how it is. The Nooner people, they're doing stuff for Satan against members of the public and government, and then they go out and have Nooners. They're so turned on from harming other people. And they use that touch and feel to sexualize somebody in the wrong direction. Again, there's and it could be a variety. Again, when you break your leg, you don't always break your, it's always like, oh, that person has a broken leg, but there's a specific way that it broke. Is it a compound fracture? Is it this? Is it that? When somebody is altered sexually, there's different reasons. So again, when you become gay or you become transgender, even if you're born that way, there may be something physical, there may not be something physical, but what's happening is you're cross-wired into something. Now, that could be a female spirit being born in a male body. It's very possible with the witchcraft that they're using on this planet that could occur. But what they can also do to you is cross-wire you. Again, the whole, and I learned this from liberals. So this term online, some liberals talking about, but it's called a fag hag. The government's a fag hag. And it's the men too. They're into people being gayed. They get turned on by it, even if they're a church member, because they're sadistic. So you could be actually connected to a bunch of women that want you gay, and they receive joy from that, whether they know you or not. So what's happening is you're taking on their traits. And that could be for life. And men could actually power that because they want it to happen. But it doesn't mean it's everybody. So it can be a combination of everything that I'm saying is happening. When the spell is large enough, you are a woman born into a man's body or a man born into a woman's body. When it's not large enough, you simply become gay and take on traits of, or possibly take on traits, because some are, there's dominant men and stuff that are gay. So the worst thing you can do is actually be connected to the deep state, because that's what they're trying to do to everyone. That's not them, even their coworkers and stuff. So when I began speaking the other day, I was kind of phased out in the mind. We began speaking about that captain, that task force, the sex crime task force captain. That's what they were doing to him. The coworkers were connecting to him and sexually turning him on to child porn. But they have to move an extent. See, they're here again because they hate when I say this. They have to move an extended level of interference in the mind before anything like that would even begin to take. Again, psychological torture. Again, they've dumbed down narcissist and they call it narcissist, but it's the next level. It's psychological torture. It's organized psychological torture. It takes down a person's mind. It possesses them and causes them to do what the possessor and the head possessor is Satan. So these people might even be in church saying they're testing people. I mean, they're psychotic. All right, where are we here? Am I at an hour yet? Yeah. Well, but I think this is it. But that, because they want it to end anyway. But that's actually what's going on and what happened to him. You're supposed to go to work and be protected from that type of, because the people you're arresting anyway want that to happen to you. So when the government worker does it to you, every crook in the world that you ever arrested that wanted you to commit a crime is working through those corrupt coworkers, being FBI, being CIA, being Marshal Service, being police department, state, local, being the fire department. So that's why they love crooks and hate cops. Well, stay peaceful. Praise God and all.